Abrams. Sam Champion with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast and the Eyewitness News team. Now, Eyewitness News.
Good evening, I'm Greg Hurst, and tonight, new developments in a vicious crime that shocked New York City, the Valentine's Day massacre that left 6 people dead. And tonight, there's an arrest. The bloody massacre happened 10 days ago, Valentine's Day in the South Bronx. 6 people shot down in cold blood. A news conference is scheduled to begin at any moment at the 40th Precinct in the South Bronx. Jim Dolan is there now live. Jim?
Greg, it has not started yet. The news conference is scheduled to start in just a few moments at the 4:00. We have confirmed with several sources now that Commissioner Kelly will establish at that news conference a connection between the shooting this afternoon at the Bronx Criminal Courthouse. We'll have details on that shooting in just a couple of minutes. And the 6 execution-style murders on Valentine's Day at 152nd and Prospect in the Bronx. We have heard a couple of different stories about exactly what that connection is. We're not going to speculate. The commissioner will do that in just a few minutes. Celeste Ford, meanwhile, is at the Bronx Courthouse with the details on today's shooting. Celeste.
Well, Jim, at this hour, all the details are not yet available, but we do know there is more to this story yet to be told. The Bronx Borough President is calling the courthouse shooting an assassination. Investigators have not yet revealed a motive, but several points are clear. A woman is shot dead, a 17-year-old is wounded, and a suspect is in custody. This woman was rushed from the Bronx County Courthouse in tears. A paramedic said she was not involved with the shooting, but she was traumatized by the horrific sight. It happened in the vestibule around 12:30 this afternoon. Authorities say a woman was pushing a baby carriage when a gunman shot her in the head, killing her. Police say another bullet grazed her male companion. This custodian was one of the first on the scene.
There was another male, Hispanic male, in the right-hand corner holding his legs, and there was one female Hispanic, one other male Hispanic, and he was hugging her. She was hit, but she was lifeless.
The custodian says the woman's baby was spared. Meanwhile, several court officers chased the gunman onto the Grand Concourse and around the courthouse to Walton Avenue. Here, the officers opened fire on the suspect, wounding him. They say he was wearing a bulletproof vest and carrying a semi-automatic handgun. This afternoon, Bronx Borough President Fernando Ferrar renewed his call for metal detectors in the courthouse.
District Attorney Johnson and I have been pushing for the installation of metal detectors in this building for years. The Office of Court Administration has been stymieing the request.
And the court officers are equally outraged.
If it's a concealed weapon, there's no metal detectors in this building. Anybody can walk in with anything they want here.
Is this something you worry about in this courthouse?
It's part of the job.
Do you feel you're protected well enough in this courthouse?
Yeah, you're protected anywhere in this state.
I'm sorry?
Are we protected anywhere in this state?
Authorities say the woman who was killed was at this courthouse accompanying someone else who was making a court appearance. Court officials have no other details regarding this, and again, authorities have not yet revealed a motive for what's being called an assassination here at the Bronx County Courthouse. And we're live in the South Bronx. I'm Celeste Ford, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And that's not all of this wild day. There was blood and murder in a public school in Manhattan. Police and security guards moved in after a 14-year-old boy was stabbed to death, allegedly by another student in junior high school 25. The school is on Stanton Street in the Lower East Side. Bertha Coombs has the latest on this killing, and she's live outside the 7th Police Precinct. Bertha?
That's right, Greg. This is where 15-year-old John Rodriguez is being held this afternoon. Some of his fellow classmates say he is a kid who has often been picked on and teased. Police say this young man today lashed out with deadly force. Students from Martinval Junior High School left their building for lunch as they normally do today, but inside, school officials were desperately trying to reestablish control to a day disrupted by violence. Police say a fight between 2 students in the special education program broke out just before noon, ending with 14-year-old Angel Jimenez fatally stabbed with a dagger. This student says it all happened quickly.
They was fighting in the hallway because of some sunglasses, and that kid was like, yo, I'm gonna stab you, I'm not playing with none of y'all, I'm tired of taking y'all stuff. And then they all started wrestling, and then one just pulled out the knife, and then other kid ran inside the dean's office and just fell.
Jimenez's 15-year-old classmate, John Rodriguez, was taken to the 7th Precinct, where he is being held on charges of second-degree murder and criminal possession of a weapon. This teacher's assistant says the murder has left students and faculty members shaken.
They should have more security. They should have more, metal detectors and all that kind of stuff. We don't have that. We don't have sufficient security.
Angel Jimenez was rushed to Bellevue Hospital, where his family was given the devastating news of his death. One official says they are having trouble accepting the murder. Manhattan Borough President Ruth Messenger said she spoke with members of Angel Jimenez's family, and one of them implored her to do something about violence in the city's schools.
The Jimenez family has lost a part of its future, and so has the city.
Now, Ruth Messenger says that the key to solving violence is trying to get children to understand that it's not the answer. Students at the school, along with parents and some others, are calling for metal detectors. They say that is one answer. We will have reaction from top school officials on that coming up at 6. For now, we're live on the Lower East Side. I'm Bertha Coombs, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Bertha. The White Plains Fire Department is mourning one of its own tonight, a heroic firefighter who perished in a deadly blaze. Exclusive home video captures the confusion and terror as flames swept through 3 floors of their downtown building on South Lexington Avenue. J.D. Dapper picks up the story live in White Plains.
Roz, more than 100 people were evacuated from that high-rise, 25 taken to area hospitals, and a veteran firefighter was killed in the blaze. Flames and heat started blowing out the windows on the 8th floor just before 12:30 this afternoon, as seen in this amateur video. Firefighters tried to stop the blaze from spreading, but within minutes the fire had pushed up to the 9th floor and dozens of residents were fleeing the 12-story building. Some through the stairwells, others rescued out their windows by firefighters on extended ladders, all fighting thick smoke to escape.
We didn't know where it was, so we just got out. And we were down in the lobby, and then I came outside, and that's when I saw it. And it was scary.
I came out and I saw debris falling and windows popping out and everything. I mean, it was really bad.
50 White Plains firefighters battled the blaze for nearly 90 minutes. One needed to be lifted from the roof by helicopter, and both firefighters and residents were injured.
We had 8 or 10 people that we know of injured, mostly firefighters. The injuries are basically burns and/or smoke inhalation. We do not know the extent of anyone's injuries at this point.
Sadly, within the last hour, one of those firefighters has died at White Plains Hospital. 39-year-old Warren Ogburn of Spring Valley was pulled and taken to the hospital, but they were unable to save him. Investigators are not saying at this time what the cause of his death is, and they are not saying what the cause of the fire is. For now, we're live in White Plains. J.D. Dapper, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
In just the 7 or 8 minutes since this newscast began, at least one car was stolen in Queens. It is big business, and police are fighting back with a big sting operation. Undercover detectives went into the stolen car business, and they cleaned up, wheeling and dealing until they hit the alleged thieves, not with warranties, but with arrest warrants. Tim Minton has that story.
Now the sign's a souvenir for a detective squad room, and customers are on their way to jail. 18 alleged thieves got stung after word went out in Queens that Pat's was a place where cash was exchanged for cars, no questions asked.
These cars would have been stolen in any event. And the only difference here is that we've recovered the cars intact.
In fact, Queens is a borough where over 125 cars are reported stolen every day. So business at Pat's was literally too good.
We had numerous repeat offenders, so we had to turn away. You know, we didn't want to purchase too many vehicles from one guy.
All told, police recovered 61 stolen cars from last summer through December. If you think the victims in this case are just suckers who didn't try to defend their property, think again. To get these cars, thieves had to dismantle or disconnect alarms, bypass engine cutoff systems, and even in several cases, unclub clubs by simply bending them back.
They knew what they were going for. They entered them within seconds, and within minutes they were probably calling me up to buy it.
The average price paid by undercover officers at Pat's was $500 per car, and when they could, they dickered that price down.
We had one subject enter the location. He backed the vehicle in, and on the side view mirror, he banged the side view mirror against the wall. so I deducted $150 off the vehicle.
Most of the money used to buy the cars was donated to the police department by area insurance companies. And while Pat's Auto Service may now be out of business, Police Commissioner Ray Kelly said today that its undercover employees may go back in business somewhere else sometime soon. In Jamaica, Tim Minton, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
While the police department is proud of that successful sting, there's no pride in the arrest of a cop accused tonight of issuing phony parking tickets. Police say Officer Anthony Rojas of the Midtown North Precinct may also have given out bogus summonses for moving violations. There's no mention of a motive. Rojas is suspended tonight without pay.
2 traffic agents passing out the real thing are now nursing a few bumps and bruises for their trouble. 2 guys in a Jeep were looking for a little understanding. What they got was a parking ticket, and what they dished out was a heap of trouble. Tabby Phillips has details from the Bronx.
Well, the traffic agents say this is the worst thing that has ever happened to them on the job.
We were just getting beat up by these civilians.
Agent Jeanette Millen and Lieutenant Henrietta Gortman were ticketing a double-parked car here on Girard Avenue in the Bronx yesterday afternoon when a red Jeep pulled up beside them. The passenger said it was his car and not to ticket it. Soon, a crowd formed, and eyewitnesses said it turned into a melee.
And then it just got out of control. Just went totally out of control. People were swinging people around. I'll tell you, she really hit the ground, too.
One of the men jumped in the agent's car and sped away. Police were called and the crowd ran, but Agent Millen was still shaken by the experience today.
No, I'm not scared. I guess I just have anger, but I'm not scared.
Why do you have anger?
Because people could just come and hit us. That's not right.
Did you get, The traffic agents were treated and released at nearby Union Hospital, but they were lucky because serious assaults on traffic agents are becoming a dangerously common occurrence. In 1990, there were 158 such assaults. In 1991, it went up to 176, and by last year, there were 208 assaults on traffic agents, more than a 31% increase over that period. The Transportation Commissioner wants penalties increased for people who assault agents.
They should have no thought in their heads of ever going up to a traffic agent and punching them or spitting on them. And that is outrageous, and it has to stop.
The agent's car was recovered a few blocks away. Police arrested one man. They're still looking for the others involved in the beating. In the Bronx, Tabby Phillips, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Well, being a traffic cop can be a risky business. In fact, last year there were 627 assaults and confrontations against New York City traffic agents.
An assault of nature, a dramatic rescue, and stories of sacrifice. All the elements of the miracle on the mountain. We will hear from the people who survived 4 days stranded in the snow and how one woman's sacrifice helped her companion survive.
Also, Charles Dickens wrote about it, but police say one man lived it. A real-life Fagin who allegedly trained a ring of school kids to steal. We'll have a live report coming up. Plus, a New York reunion. Tony Randall and Jack Klugman are back together again. That story a little bit later on Eyewitness News.
Tonight, a new girl has trouble fitting in.
Holy cow. I have the personality of a girl with a big nose.
And Kevin's no help.
We're going to the spring dance together. You weren't laughing in her nose, were you?
On the Wonder Years. Then...
Problem, Dr. Hauser? I should have known she had this crush on me.
Doogie's patient gets a case of puppy love.
Hauser. Party of two.
On Doogie Hauser, MD.
And stay tuned for Eyewitness News at 11 right here on Channel 7.
At the top of this newscast, we told you there has been an arrest in the St. Valentine's Day massacre, which happened about 10 days ago. We're going live to the 40th Precinct and Jim Dolan at that news conference now. This is Raymond Kelly, the police commissioner.
Capello of Bronx Detectives.
I can tell you what he's going to say. He's going to say they're looking at it and they don't know.
We have Lieutenant Mike Bramble from the 40 Detective Squad, Detective Ronald Vance from the 40 Detective Squad, and Detective Benny Torado from the Bronx Homicide Squad. At 10:30 this morning, Elliot Lopez was arrested and charged in what has been dubbed by the media as the 1993 St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Elliot Lopez is an 18-year-old male who resides at 730 East 161st Street in the Bronx. He was arrested by detectives from the 40th Precinct Detective Squad and Bronx Homicide Squad who were waiting for Lopez when he arrived at Bronx Criminal Court for a court appearance on a prior narcotics arrest. On Sunday, February 14th, 6 individuals were shot and killed at 645 Prospect Avenue in the Bronx. 5 of the 6 were shot in the back of the head. The victims were all found face down in an apartment at that location. The crime was the most heinous one, which involved victims from the age of 15 to 49 and outraged not only the residents of Mott Haven, but people all over the city. Lopez will be charged with 6 counts of felony murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and other charges to be determined by the Bronx District Attorney's Office. Police are continuing this investigation and are still looking for other persons involved in the crime. I want to congratulate the many detectives, not only from the 4-0 Detective Squad, but also from the Bronx Homicide Squad, who worked very diligently on this case. The arrest of Lopez is a direct result of good investigative work with the assistance of information from the public. We know that surviving family members of the victims continue to grieve, and we hope that this arrest brings them some comfort. There have been reports that today's shooting inside the Bronx courthouse was related to this homicide. This aspect is under active investigation, and we'll make no more comments about this aspect of the investigation. And I'd like to turn it over to Bronx District Attorney Robert Johnson for comment.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just wanted to add to your comments that I congratulate the men and women of the police department, in particular the 4-0 squad and Bronx Homicide, along with Assistant District Attorney Risa Sugarman, who is here, the chief of our Homicide Bureau, who has worked alongside of them to bring this arrest about. Obviously, what happened on St. Valentine's Day is one of the most graphic examples of what can happen if we continue to allow loaded guns to freely be possessed on our streets. I would hope that we are able to bring this defendant to justice and also to stem the tide of loaded guns. Elliot Lopez, if he is convicted, faces 25 years to life on each of with respect to each of the 6 murders, running consecutively. That brings his potential maximum sentence to 150 years to life.
Any questions?
How many other additional suspects are you looking for?
There you have Commissioner Kelly,
looking
the DA
for
from the
at
Bronx,
least
telling us that Elliot Lopez, a male Hispanic, 18 years old, from 161st Street, has been arrested on his way to an unrelated court appearance for the 6 murders on Valentine's Day here in the Bronx. He has been charged with 6 counts of felony murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The motive remains unclear. Commissioner Kelly has not said anything about that yet, and police are looking, we believe, for other suspects in that case. Again, an arrest today in what has been called the St. Valentine's Day Massacre of 1993. Reporting live from the Bronx, Jim Dolan, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And Jim's going to be staying at that news conference at the 40th Precinct. There will be more information that comes out of that news conference, and we'll have more information for you as soon as we get it. And there is more to come in Eyewitness News, and we'll be...
Washington apples. They're as good as you've heard.
Most President's Day celebrations salute Washington and Lincoln, but at Chrysler Plymouth, we're including McKinley and Cleveland. That means savings into the thousands. Save over $2,700 on this special limited edition Acclaim. It's trimmed in gold, equipped with an airbag, and loaded with options. Air, automatic, cruise control, tilt steering, all for only $12,203. Save big. And meet some presidents you hardly know. At Chrysler Plymouth, where real advantages make a real difference.
We're here with Camille Giraldi, founder of the Up With Down Syndrome Foundation and Nutrisystem success story.
I've lost 162 pounds, and before Nutrisystem, I couldn't even walk up a flight of stairs. Now I do 777 in 18 minutes. I can even cross my legs without any problems.
Call Nutrisystem now and take advantage of this offer.
The 12-week turnaround is $99 plus the cost of meals. Call Nutrisystem right now, 1-800-321-THIN.
The recovery of 5 skiers from a frigid mountaintop in Aspen, Colorado is being dubbed tonight the Miracle on the Mountain. Today, the remarkable story of their survival was told in their own words.
Skiers go out into the backcountry for snow. The fact that it was going to be snowing was great news to us. We didn't realize it was going to snow an inch an hour for the next 5 days.
From the comforts of a warm hospital in Denver, 3 cross-country skiers today shared their stories of survival in the backcountry of Aspen, Colorado.
I found Friday night very scary to me because I was in my sleeping bag with just a piece of fabric over my face, very claustrophobic, and getting snowed on all night long.
All 5 skiers were rescued yesterday after spending 4 bitter cold nights fighting the elements and fighting to survive. Last night, Dubin and 50-year-old Bridget Schluger were airlifted to St. Luke's Hospital, where they are currently being treated in a hyperbolic chamber for frostbite. Later in the evening, Ken Torp, one of the first skiers to be found, appeared on Nightline to tell the world of the heroic exploits of one of his colleagues.
On that second open bivouac night, Dee Dubin gave her sleeping bag to Birgitta Schluger, so Birgitta Schluger wouldn't die that night in the open.
Torp and another colleague, Elliot Brown, were rescued when they skied into a trading post, calling authorities on a payphone. The other 3 were discovered a short time later after search helicopters spotted their distress signal, an upside-down American flag, and the word help stamped in the snow.
Mountain rescue people are the ones who are really risking their lives trying to find us. And those are the people who are the true heroes in this situation.
Members of the group say the only food they had were some snack bars, and the only water came from melted snow.
Amazing story.
Yes.
And Ivana Trump might need some rescuing herself. Her neighbors aren't too happy with some plans that she has. We'll tell you about her latest battle.
And in this day of big budgets, what kind of movie can you make for only $7,000? You might be surprised at what you'd see. Joel Siegel with a review of a very unusual film.
Night Sight. Criminals who try to operate under cover of darkness in this Long Island town had better watch out because someone's watching them night and day. We'll show you how police here keep an eye on crime by high-tech remote control at 6 right here on Channel 7.
Don't think of this as a commercial for the new Lincoln Mark 8. Think of it as a highlight film. Sorry, that's as slow as it gets.
To get special lease terms on the new 32-valve, 280-horsepower Lincoln Mark 8, act fast.
Madam, one mustn't eat popcorn in a concert hall.
I would never do that.
Pretzels, potato chips, that sort of thing.
I would never do that.
What are you eating?
Stella D'Or breadsticks.
Breadsticks?
Light, delicious, fun to eat.
Madam, please hand over the breadsticks.
No, I would never do that.
Oh, my favorite. Sesame.
And now Stella D'Or garlic-flavored breadsticks, too.
Another day begins in Europe. Just as it has for centuries. And as each new day arrives, so does a silver bird from the west. This morning, American Airlines will touch down in 13 European cities in 9 different countries, including daily non-stop service from JFK to London, Manchester, Brussels, Zurich, and Paris. So whether it's business or pleasure, fly the airline that can take you to Europe as early as tomorrow morning. American Airlines, something special to Europe.
Watch Suge, Carrie, and Mint in the $25,000 Jeopardy Teen Tournament.
Tonight at 7, right here on Channel 7.
In tonight's People in the News, New York Magazine reports that Ivana Trump wants to cover the columns of her historic Upper East Side townhouse with gold leafing. Now, that would cost her about $7,000. The decision, though, is up to the Landmark Preservation Commission, but the real battle could be with her neighbors who don't like the idea. One calls it inappropriate.
Well, not everybody has extra money to lavish on artistic endeavors in this era of multi-million-dollar movies. Joel Siegel found a filmmaker who made a movie for only $7,000. He joins us now with a review of El Mariachi. Joel.
And a terrific movie, Roz. El Mariachi is the story of a traveling musician who ends up in a Mexican border town. It reminded me of those Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns like Fistful of Dollars, but call this Handful of Change. Robert Rodriguez, 23 years old, University of Texas film student, made the film for a total budget $7,000. He made it for Mexican home video, if you can imagine, but he sent a clip cold to an agent whose name he got off a poster from the Texas Film Commission. What happens? Columbia picks it up. It opens tomorrow in 10 cities. Why hire one musician when I've got an who's working 2 jobs to put himself through college? So to get time to write the script, Rodriguez checked into a medical research center as a volunteer testing a new cholesterol drug. He walked out a month later with $3,000, almost half his budget, a finished script, and lower cholesterol. El Mariachi opens Friday. This would be a terrific film if it had cost $8,000. It really is fun.
I bet he'll have more money to make the next one, though.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Joel.
$9,000
at least. Well, a wealth of winter weather this year. Sam Champing is up next with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast. Plus, a twist on Charles Dickens in modern times. Police say one man hired kids to do his robberies.
And video cameras set up to catch a thief could land the men who were robbed in jail. Plus, a common childhood skin irritation. Dr. Jay Adlersberg tells us how to fight it in our special report. That's a little bit later on Eyewitness News.
My sister Fenny has just flown here from Bombay.
This God will bring you hope and rebirth.
And my other sister Gorgeous is due in shortly from Newton, Massachusetts.
Aren't my sisters fabulous? They really are such funsy people.
You're an American Jewish woman living in London, working for a Chinese Hong Kong bank, taking weekends in Poland with a daughter who's running off to Lithuania.
You're very nice, but you're not my type. We are the Sisters Rosenzweig.
Sarah, you really know how to throw a good Shabbos.
Have you seen all the press Ford's been getting? Ford Taurus is the #1 selling car in America. In fact, of the 10 best-selling vehicles in America, 5 of them are Fords. Only your Ford dealer can make this claim. I keep telling you, Ford is winning back America.
Now, choose between an Escort 3-door, 4-door, 5-door, or wagon and pay just $199 a month for 24 months.
Your Ford dealer is winning back America with 5 of the 10 bestsellers. See your tri-state quality Ford dealer and see for yourself.
Don't you hate it when you go to answer the phone and you've just missed the call? All you get is that eeet. Well, with return call, if you don't make it to the phone on time, it's okay.
Hello?
It remembers the last number that called you and automatically calls it back. But now let's say the phone rings and you don't want to be interrupted. But what if it's an important call? With Caller ID, you can silently screen your calls.
Barbara, you okay?
Honey, it's time.
I'll never get home in time. Start breathing. I'll call Kate.
Call waiting lets important calls get through. It's the most popular Bell Atlantic IQ service. Call now for call waiting.
Mike. Barbara just went into labor.
Okay, I'll pick her up and meet you at the hospital. Let me get back to you, Mary.
Be there for the people who count on you. Call now for call waiting, caller ID, and return call. There's no service connection charge.
Kate. Yeah, we did just try to call.
Call 1-800-272-1006 now for IQ services, and the service connection is free.
So you have your husband on tape having sex with a stripper? Wives and their cheating grooms on the next Oprah. Tomorrow at 4, right here on Channel 7. We were just talking during the break. I said I'm going to have to buy yet another pair of gloves, my 5th.
To the sound of jeering crowds. But police say there was no one or